What do you say?
Oh, he's in.
Okay. Oh, there he is.
All right. Hello. Hello.
Hello. As Lorna says, the beautiful people. The beautiful people.
You don't say it quite angry enough.
I know. Sorry.
You just randomly decide to do that? I thought, oh, is Lorna here? Did she just?
No, I just randomly decided to do it because it was in my head.
I
don't know why I have Marilyn Manson in my head, but I do.
I don't know. All right, everybody, what is happening? It's Wednesday. It's Boss Up and List Day.
It is.
What's up? We started like 30 seconds late, but whatever.
I'm gonna blame it on our special guest.
Our special guest. They are now here. They are now here, so it's all good. But anyway, so we went ahead and started, but they popped in right when we were starting, so everything's all good. What's happening, everybody? It's Wednesday. If this is your first time joining us, I apologize because I don't know why I'm apologizing, but
why are you apologizing?
Why, I don't have to apologize for anything, so shut your yap. I'm Katie. This is Vicky, aka Victoria, aka she doesn't apologize to nobody, and I can tell you that's the truth for real from personal experience, aka my fiance.
Wow, that was great. Thanks. Thanks. It's Pick on Vicky Day, apparently.
Isn't that all the time?
This is true. This is true. Look at this eBay reseller vlog's about to get in the pool. It's 90 in Ohio. What? It's never 90 in Ohio. You better go get in that pool, man.
If it's 90 in Ohio, I imagine it's like super humid too. I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, it's like you walk outside and immediate boob sweat. Like
yeah.
Even if you don't have boobs.
I don't need to hear about the boob sweat. Okay.
It's hot.
Yeah,
it's hot.
I feel like you're projecting onto others your boob sweat.
I don't have any boob sweat. It's cold in the house, actually. I like the air conditioning on a little bit chilly.
Yeah, for sure. Usually at some point in the afternoon, I have to put on a hoodie and get my lap blanket out.
It's true.
Even though it's over 100 degrees outside, it's just the way it is.
It's true. It happens. It happens. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon for some of you. Yeah, so Wednesday. It's our businessy show, but actually, since about the second week of COVID shutdown, we've now been doing our masked seller segment on our Wednesday show.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty fun. It's funny. You guys seem to like it. It's our, as we say, it's our least watched show of the two that we do a week, but we don't care. Clearly, we don't do this show for ratings. We do it for you guys, the people that do like it.
There's ratings.
Appreciate it. Yeah. They're apparently.
Do we need to connect with the Nielsen families out there?
I don't know. Some kind of ratings. Some kind of ratings. Actually, yeah, we can't seem to hit that 10,000 subs mark. I think every time we come up with a new idea, we lose a few dozen and they go, nope, we're out. So, oh, well.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, yeah, so it's Wednesday. I don't know. What do you have going on today? Because usually today is all about, setting some goals, putting yourself out there for accountability amongst your virtual coworkers. We put up a post in the Boss Facebook group, and just for a little accountability. And it's kind of like, an all-day listing day. But come on, that's kind of like all we do every day, right? Or hopefully you're listing a little bit every day, or trying to, or most days. I don't know. But what are you doing today? What's your plan?
So I shipped 9 items this morning. So I had a good day yesterday. I actually sold stuff on all 4 platforms, which doesn't happen that often. I know, right? So I shipped 9 things. And today I am officially out of photographs. So Crystal will be coming by later, I assume. We do this on Wednesdays, and dropping off the last of my items from the Arizona haul. So they're all drafted.
Must be nice.
I have nothing left. So I have I haven't been able to source very much since we came home from Arizona. The sourcing has been shit. So I am. Oh yeah, clutch your pearls. So we've got like I have like 15 things to take photos of, not enough to obviously send them with her. So I'm going to take some pictures today. I've got a couple of big heavy items I'm going to list locally. So I'm going to probably get onto like Facebook Marketplace and offer up two things that I never do.
I mean, come on, the whole nature, I feel like, of this business, and probably just life in general, is that you find a solution, or you do something to build your store, or to build your business bigger. New problems arise, And so it's like now you've got this amazing ability to, you know, hand off all this stuff to somebody else. And Crystal does a great job taking pictures and doing drafts for you. And you got like, so much stuff in Arizona, and now it's like pretty much all photographed and drafted and a lot of listed. And now you got to figure out how the heck are you going to get more stuff?
I've got to get more stuff is really what it is. So the last few times that we've been in thrift stores and we went garage sailing, it's been really dismal. So locally, I'm not doing well sourcing. So I just really need to get my butt out there and source more. So I might hit up a store today, and then tomorrow I'm going sourcing with Corey. We're going to try to hit. Also, we have limited store hours here. We're open, but the store hours are much shorter by about 4 hours, I think. So tomorrow we're going to try and hit up 3 or 4 stores. I think we can get 3 or 4 done.
You might be able to like go early and see hit some garage sales or something, because a lot of people do it on Thursdays.
No, there's not a lot on Thursdays. There's a lot on Fridays here, but not a lot on Thursdays.
And then maybe, I don't know, Deseret Industries, I don't know what time they're opening.
That was where I was thinking of going today, maybe. We'll see.
Some of the other places, I don't know. Allison apparently has some creepy dolls that she could have sent you.
So we have a lot of friends that are finding things. You know, it is. I'm really in need of both clothing and hard goods. I have the money. I just can't find any of the crap I need.
And I also think in general, you know, I think you haven't quite gotten, like, I think it started before we went into shutdown and it kind of pulled you out of it, but you haven't quite gotten into that rhythm of you have to go source a lot more.
Yeah.
You need to be sourcing probably like 3 days a week or something like that to really keep up on that stuff. And so
I do. And so it was really just a couple
it
was just a couple of weeks that I've been trying to get into this rhythm right before we hit COVID shutdown. And then it was like this.
Yeah, pretty much. So anyway, looks like Barbara's been doing some online arbitrage. Spent about $500, but she'll at least triple my money in the long run. Yeah, it's all about finding new ways to kind of get that inventory.
And that's her out of her comfort zone. So I like that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. Very, very cool. And Laura's been doing similar. She's been doing a lot of online like eBay lots, jewelry lots. You guys, if you saw the show last week, we were talking about some of that jewelry that she bought off of eBay and then turned around and sold it for $1 bajillion. By the way,
11 bajillion.
By the way, the first one that she shipped out got delivered today, and so we're just like, you know, crossing our fingers that there's not going to be an issue.
There's no way.
Hey, we are a community here. We're a family, okay? Are you, Laura? Did you hear that? Vicky doesn't even care.
She's crossing her fingers.
Well, why can't I be giving her support? We're a community. Listen, Laura, this is my life here at home. She just doesn't care. Do you wonder why Luna, your dog, loves me so much?
Nope. It's like my mom. Luna's like my mom. She likes Katie more than she likes me.
It might have something to do with the fact that I like obsess over them and constantly take a break every 45 minutes to go tell them how cute they are.
That's true.
The dogs.
It's true.
Also, and Allison says that she bought out all the pools at Walmart. So good work. Good work.
We know someone else that did the same.
Yeah, I would like to. Yeah, and Laura says that you're very rude. And Laura, do not curse Vicky with only large items all week, because I was just defending your ass. And you know that if she sells large items, you know what's going to happen to me. I'm going to be the one building the boxes. I'm going to be the one helping to package them all up. So by cursing her, you're cursing me. So let's find another way to curse her, okay? Like maybe all of her nails pop off or something like that.
Ow.
It doesn't have to be painful.
That is painful.
Anyway, speaking of Allison, so Allison's up in Alaska, and they just got a couple of baby goats that they're taking care of because they're, I don't know, something with the mom can't feed them or whatever. So they're bottle
feeding the baby goats, and they have imprinted on her wife, Casey. So Casey is the baby goat mama.
So we're getting to see video of the goats like chasing her around. I have demanded.
And they sideways hop.
I have demanded baby goats in pajamas, pictures and videos. I don't know where that's going, how that's coming along, but anyway.
So today's show, before our poor guest suffocates because they have the mask on already, we should probably get started and explain what it is.
Whatever. So we're doing the mask seller.
We're doing the mask seller.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but basically, who are you? are you? You like that? Anyway, some of you may know who this person is. Some of you may not. So you're going to be asking yes or no questions. I hope they have yes or no answer cards. I didn't even ask them. Did you?
I see them.
Well, okay, we see them. Okay.
Very fancy. Very fancy.
All right, so we will be asking them questions, or you guys will be asking questions in the chat, and we're going to try to figure out what state they are currently in and what their previous profession was. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, who the heck are they? And so why don't we go ahead and bring them out. Bring them out right now. You ready? You ready? Here we go. Mm-hmm. Here we go. All right. Here's our guest. Oh, they're just called guests.
Just guest. I do like, is that a bubble wrap outfit that I'm seeing there? I don't know what's happening, but I think that's
I don't think so. It's some sort of like tank top thing. It's very patriotic. I just want to say that right now.
America.
Very patriotic. And I would also like you to show your yes or no signs, because I think there's something that we need to address. We'll see a sign. Yeah, that's well, I mean, I guess it is recycled. I was going to call them out for misusing priority USPS supplies. But I also like that they're recycled.
I like the fact that it's very difficult to tell if this guest is a man or a woman. That one makes me happy. I like when you can't tell who it is.
All right, so Keelan Kisses wants to know, are you Ted Nugent? No. All right, guys, let's start asking questions. We want to know what state they are in. They are in the U.S. What state they're in, what their previous occupation was, and let's see.
All right, let's see.
Well, I mean, Allison says Blue Man Group fail.
That's good. All right, so let's see. eBay reseller vlogs
wants to know if you're a woman. Are you a woman? No.
Darn it!
I think he's sad because he had like his whole disguise. He's got.
I noticed there were some boobs and everything.
Oh, this is a good question. Liz wants to know, has it reached over 100 degrees where you live yet this year? Yes. Yes, it has. Barbara would like to know, are you on the East Coast? Yes. Keelan, I like Keelan Kisses questions. Are you living deep in the heart of Dixie? No. Paula wants to know if you're in Vegas. Now, they have just said that they are on the East Coast, so I'm gonna say that answer is going to be no. All right. Bear Kitty wants to know, are you in Florida? Yes. Yes, I see multiple questions. Multiple people asking if they're in Florida. All right, let's try to guess their profession, their prior profession.
So we know this is a man that lives in Florida, where it's been over 100 degrees at least once this year so far.
Okay. Yep. Liz would like to know, do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have a YouTube channel? Yes. Yes, he does have a YouTube channel. Laura would like to know, are you married? Are you married? Nope. Midwest caller or Midwest seller would like to know if you were a real estate agent. Were you a real estate agent? No. Let's see. I see where somebody people are thinking.
Okay, ask Liz's question right there.
Liz would like to know, have you been on the show before? Have you been on our channel before? Nope. Nope. I see a lot of people thinking, going one direction. Bear Kitty wants to know if you are a rock star. And then there are a lot of people asking if it's Casey. Are you Casey? Are you? No. Let's see. Yeah, see, Kara is asking if.
Speaking of Casey, I'm sure he's not watching the show, but it is his birthday today. So
it is. So happy birthday to Casey.
If you happen to know Casey, or if you're in his group, or you follow him on YouTube or on Instagram, go and shoot him a happy birthday message.
Heartline Clothing and More wants to know, were you a server? Was your previous occupation a server? Yes. The answer to that is yes. Oh, Keelan Kisses wants to know, do you have a fever? Yes. No. Yes. She sells resale. Wants to know, are you engaged? I think they're still. I think they might still be on the Casey hook there, but nope, it's not Casey. It is not Casey. Did you work in hotel management? Midwest seller? Nope. Solely Biz wants to know if you're Rally Roots. Nope. Keelan Kisses says Thrift Fever. Yes. Okay. Who's Thrift Fever, you guys? Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Somebody say the name. Come on. Let's bring it out. Come on, guys. I know you know. I know you know. Who are you? Who are you? All right. Laura says, Rick, take it off. Take off your mask. Take it off. You can breathe now. Come on. There you go.
With multiple layers over here. Man,
he really went all out.
He went in, all in.
Oh, let me unmute him here. Let me go ahead and unmute him. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Take it off the moo-moo. Take it off
whoa,
the
whoa.
Woo!
It's like 100 degrees in here.
Hi, Rick.
You know,
look at that handsome face.
Thanks.
So we've been saying to Rick we've wanted him on the show for a while, and this was a good one. So I have to say he likes us enough that he actually went out and bought a webcam because he didn't have one.
Which, come on, ridiculous, Rick.
You have a YouTube channel. Now you have a camera.
You do regular videos.
It's Katie's fault because when I was trying to buy a new computer, I asked her advice. She didn't tell me that's not going to have all this stuff built in. A separate external microphone, a separate speakers, everything. But during quarantine, you couldn't find a freaking webcam anywhere. I guess everybody was trying to be in touch with their families. Like all of them were backordered.
Yeah, a lot of that for homeschooling too. So like all the kids were home and they needed to have the camera. Yeah.
So I found that one for like under $60 from Amazon, shipped in one day.
We got a lot of people saying that they love watching your videos.
Thanks, Jen.
And I just posted, I put a link to Rick's channel in there. Rick, why don't you tell us a little bit about your channel and what you, the kind of stuff that you sell?
Yeah, so by the way, I already made a new video to be uploaded tonight. I tried to schedule it, we'll see if it works. I had to like make sure the GMT time was the right time, but at 7 o'clock tonight it should be released. So historically, I've sold mainly, I sold a little bit of everything, but footwear. First thing I ever sold on eBay was a pair of shoes. I remember I paid $6 for a pair of Fin Comfort because my girlfriend at the time was into like high-end shoes, which the puppies used to eat. And so it was ingrained in my mind. But Fin Comfort, I sold them for $75. So that was the first thing I ever sold on eBay.
How long was that?
I sold shoes and clothing a lot of that.
When was that?
I keep wanting to make it longer, but I think it was 2006.
Okay. I
want to say 2003, but early 2000s is when I first started on eBay. At least when it says, like when I started on the account, it says 2006, so I guess that's correct.
And so now you kind of do like mostly men's clothing, don't you?
So yeah, I've really been saturated with like suits and shoes, that kind of stuff, because it's a little higher end. I like a higher average selling price. But now, due to some reasons, I've changed my whole model. I'll be selling all kinds of other things. So I'm doing a lot of hard goods now. I like learning and learning new things, and it's really easy. Yeah, it's really easy to find high average selling price items. I'm selling a lot of cookware and things of that nature, which I didn't know a lot about before. So it's really interesting, like a lot of brevier all-clad, that kind of stuff. And some electronics, but I haven't historically had good luck with those in the past because I'm not good at testing things. I'm getting better.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, we've talked on the show before about kind of what it takes to be a good reseller and some of the factors that really kind of play into whether or not you're going to be successful. And a lot of that comes down to, of course you need a knowledge base and understanding of the stuff you're selling, but a lot of it comes down to instinct. And I think, Vicki and I both agree that you're one of those sellers that you have a really good instinct and then you learn super quickly And you have a really good knowledge base of like the kind of stuff that you're selling. So
he has a really good eye, and I think that he does a lot of research when he figures out something and finds something that's good. And he does a lot of research, because I don't watch anybody on YouTube except Rick. Rick is the only videos that I watch on YouTube, and I have a lot of YouTube friends that have YouTube channels, and I'm sorry because I'm an asshole because I don't really watch you. I just don't. The only ones that I sit and watch with Rick. First of all, Rick is not as prolific as we are, so he doesn't have 2.5 hour freaking shows, because I wouldn't want to watch us. That's too long. But his channel, his shows are usually like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and it's super chock full of just information. Really, really good information. And I think that he and I like buy a lot of similar things sometimes. So I like to see my stuff, like it reinforces things to me. And then I will watch this stuff, and I learn so much about men's clothing. I understand men's streetwear, and I know how to buy men's vintage suits and high-end men's clothing, dress shirts and suits and things like that. That's just not my forte. I don't know a lot about it. And even though I'll find something I think it's good, I don't really know. And I've texted him, I don't know how many times from the store, like, is this a good one? I don't know. Should I get this? It feels like it's good. And he's very helpful. But I learned so much from your videos. And we've been saying at the beginning, just like, if you don't watch a lot of people on YouTube, or maybe you're somebody that watches everybody, I don't care what it is, add him to your repertoire, because you are going to learn a lot.
Good for bolos and understanding like why things are worth what they're worth. So, guys, if anybody in the chat has questions for Rick, go ahead and ask. We got him here. So what's your favorite thing that you've like sold recently that is you've added to your repertoire now that you're expanding?
Excuse me. I would say that's the cookware, like, because I've never really sold cookware before, and the Revereware. I did a video on it recently, but you can easily spot them on the handles. They're all vintage. They have like a little hanging, like a hanging hook thing. So that's how they're easy to spot if you're in a store. There's a lot of them. Start looking at those, and then look at the bottom and see if they're copper. And it's the Revereware copper-clad stainless steel. I shouldn't be saying this, because if Goodwills and stuff are watching this, you're gonna like catch on to it. But nobody prices them high, at least where I am. In every single thrift store I go to, I find at least one. I'm not exaggerating. So I've got like 20 pieces in the car right now. And what I've discovered is if you take them and make a set out of them, as long as they're the matching ones, they go for really good money. So it's pretty exciting, because I've never sold it before. And the first set I sold was only like, it was 6 pieces with 4 lids, so 10 pieces, and I sold them for like $125 in 24 hours. And I had like $12 into them. So I might have sold them too cheap. And now I'm learning also that if you take vinegar and salt, table salt and vinegar, without having to buy like harsh chemicals, it'll clean up the bottom of the copper and make it shine. So when you take your pictures, if they shine more, you're going to sell for more. So anyway, that's probably the most exciting stuff that I can readily find, cheap.
See, that's interesting. I personally would never want to be cleaning cookware. Yeah. So I don't even look at cookware.
That's why I have 20 pieces in the car. So it's, there's a little bit of labor involved. But I didn't clean the other ones. I just put them through my dishwasher.
The other type that I know, there's only one type that I know that sells really well, and it's the Amway brand.
Oh, really? I wasn't aware.
Super expensive. The name, of course, has slipped my head. I will text you with it after
I'm sure somebody,
because I have a couple of pieces that my mom got me years ago, and awesome. They're very expensive. Anybody can remember what the cookware brand is for Amway? Anyway, it's a very high-end brand. You don't find it very often. When you do, it's big money.
I just found also something I just caught my eye. It was all copper. It's just a little 2-quart saucepan with a lid, but the whole thing was copper, the lid and everything. So that caught my eye. And it was a Williams-Sonoma, France, made in France. And when I looked them up, they're selling, if you clean it up, a lot, like easy $100 just for a little 2-quart saucepan. I guess there's not a lot of them out there, so that's pretty cool. But
yeah, I just dropped the link to Rick's channel in the chat again, but he's Thrift Fever on YouTube, so he's really easy to find. But see, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Rick. You say cookware is kind of like a new thing that you're kind of venturing out into, but this is why I'm telling people that they should be watching your channel, because you get so detailed, like the amount of detail that you go into about like what something is, why it's worth picking up, how to spot it, how to make it in the best condition possible to get more money. I mean, all of that stuff I think is really valuable for people who want to learn more and kind of expand to other categories.
Yeah. You know, the trick for any eBay seller, even if you're brand new, I'm no smarter than anybody else. It's just research. It's just looking at the comps. I think so many new eBayers don't know how to really study comps. You know, you look at the solds. You don't just look at what's active, what people are asking for. Who cares about that? You look what things sold for. You look at how many there are and how many sold. If one thing sold, there's 1,000 of them. That's not good. But if a good amount of them are selling and they're selling for high money, that's all you have. Once you have that, you have everything. It's that easy. Just look stuff up. You know?
That's true. So a lot of people mentioning how active you are in the Boss Facebook group, and it's true. Rick was somebody that we're very happy to have him in the group because he's so knowledgeable and helpful and active in the group. You know, we have some great members in the Boss Facebook group, but not to take away from anybody else, but Rick is super helpful. And I will say, obviously, both on our channel and in the group, we are very female centric in our group. And I think it's because there probably are just more female sellers on eBay. And you gravitate toward people.
And I also think they tend to be more social and reaching out. And
and you gravitate more toward people that you connect with, and that's part of it. But Rick is one of our token males that is very active in the group, and we appreciate that perspective.
Yeah, for sure. Can you get a little more into what made you move from mainly just doing men's clothes to now going out and doing more hard goods?
Yeah, I know this come up with a lot of people have been asking, so I want to come out of my vegan closet. I became a vegan, so I know a lot of people are going to hate that, and I don't judge anybody else. It's just a personal decision I made in my life. So I'm not comfortable selling leather and wool and things like that. So as crazy as that is, because here I am in quarantine with that's all my inventory. I have no way to get anything else. You know, I'm still selling what I have, obviously, but I'm not sourcing it. And that was my niche. That was really what makes me the most money. So it's just a personal decision I made. And that's what's so great about eBay, because that sounds crazy, right? Switching everything you sell. But there's so much stuff out there to sell that, you know, I can find all kinds of other things to sell that will sell for. I mean, my ASP this past week is still like $87.
Nice.
So that's
crazy.
You know, so that's a mixture of stuff, though. I am still selling shoes, and I'm selling what I have, but mixing a lot of hard goods in. So there you go. Now everyone knows. Don't need me.
Well, and when you left, because what exactly was your job before?
Well, most of my life I was in the hospitality industry, a fine dining server, you know, like bartender, that kind of stuff, front of the house. I was a mortgage broker for like 7 years, like Vicky. She was, I think, wholesale, but I did that.
And we worked, and his company that we worked for was one of my clients, which is weird.
In Cranston, yeah.
But yeah, when you like last year, you were, you know, you were still working your old job and making plans to go full time, and your goal was always to have like a really high average sale price. So.
Right. So I'm sticking with that, but yes and no. I'm not going to keep blabbing. I'll blab, but I didn't get into it, but I was also at one point a bookseller, like on Amazon. And I quit my job. I had a warehouse. I was buying like 12,000 books a week. I had a supplier. I was renting a commercial truck. I'm not very mechanical, but I bought myself like a pallet jack, and I had all the bells and whistles. And it's a lot of physical work. I had no employees, and I was going and picking these things up. They would load the truck, but then I would drive it, and then I would have to use a pallet jack to unload them all. And I had a warehouse, and I was doing well. But, I was just like so immersed. My mom came one day and she goes, you're not talking to anybody, and you're not seeing any friends, and I stopped and I thought about it. I was just like, yeah, this is really worth it. And it was great, don't get me wrong, but so I stopped doing that totally. I went back because I had quit my job, and quite honestly, it wasn't good. I didn't have 6 months of savings, and it wasn't very good. Plus, I took a big loan from Amazon, which a lot of people get into, and so it was a good lesson to learn. But anyway, so I know a lot about books as well, and I say all that to say that now that I'm selling a myriad of things, even though a lot of the books aren't in the same ASP, I know things are going to sell, and they're going to sell fast. I have what did I do with it? It's on the floor right now. It's cleaning my desk. But I have like a handheld scanner, right? And you just scan the ISBN right into eBay, and a lot of them are already there. It populates the picture and everything. And as long as you know your conditions, it takes nothing to list the book. So I just sold a book set a couple of days ago for $125. I sold a lot. A lot of books I'll sell are over $50. But I just found something for like 33 cents and sold it for $23. Media mail. It's so easy, and it's just like no brainer. So I have that mixed in. So my ASP might be all over the place for a while, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, for sure. And Jen wants to say that not to objectify you, Rick, but you're easy on the eyes too.
Oh, thanks, Jen. I appreciate that.
He is a handsome devil, isn't he? He's got that salt and pepper thing going on.
I think Jen's very beautiful as well. I think she's married.
And she sells resale. I don't know if it's Deborah Mel says that you totally live up to your cool Facebook photo.
Thank you, whatever that is. Oh, the little, yeah. I forgot that I changed it. It sucks that I have a white beard, though. I just have to be white.
Just get some shoe polish. Rub it right in.
Listen, I have a lot of girl friends that do that dye their facial hair and their hair. Dyeing your hair looks way worse when you're a man than when you're a woman. Women, it's almost a given you're going to dye your hair. Men, it looks so incredibly fake. If you've got the salt and pepper hair, go for it. Let it go. I promise you, it looks good.
Total transparency. When I was going for a job interview once at my old job, I bought that just for men's stuff. I had never used it. And I figured, if I can make my beard browner, right? Oh my God, never again. It was like red. It was like this sort of fake looking at me like, oh God.
It's always obvious, at least it is to me, I think, when you see a guy that, like, all right, dude, you're over 50. There's no way you don't have a single gray beard hair. Like, why are you doing that? Just let it go. Be natural.
Yeah, be natural.
I know. I'm a hypocrite, absolutely. My hair is very natural. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, guys. Let us know if you have any other questions. Come on, you guys could ask Rick some questions. I mean, he has a lot of knowledge when it comes to like higher end men's clothing, which I think is really interesting. When you were just doing men's stuff, you and I were both selling all men's clothing, and yet completely different kind of subsets of those two categories.
Yeah,
so,
and I'll be honest with you, even though I might have an eye for some things, that helps. But your niche is not as easy as you think. Like, I've gone out and bought things. Oh, this is really vintage looking cool. No, what did it sell? I can't move it. So it's not quite as easy. I mean, I have to learn more about single stitch and that kind of stuff. But some of the stuff you sell is just amazing. The prices you get, I'm just like blown away. I'm like, oh my God, like high school marching band, really? Come on.
I say it every time. Every time she comes home with like the Wilson Family Cookout T-shirt from 1950, I'm like, who the frick wants that thing? I don't understand that.
So, Waste Not, Want Not, Mo, a fellow vegan, would like to know, what was your first big sale?
Do you know what? I don't think I've ever had over $1,000 sale ever. And as far as I know, I think the highest sale I ever had, you're not going to believe this, when I had the warehouse with the books, right? What I was doing on the weekends, because I learned from a lot of people like Greg Murphy and some friends, that you could, instead of like, I had a recycler that would come and take all my books that weren't worth sending to Amazon away every week, just getting rid of them so I get more. But what I started doing was having $1 book sales, and I'd use Facebook ads, and people would come from miles away. I was making like $650 in a weekend just from selling $1 books. People would like take them. So anyway, Harry Potter books were good ones. They weren't worth much, but for $1 easily. But I read this thing online that there's certain editions, and here's how you find it. And it'll say First American Edition, but they all say that. But there's a certain number code. It ends in 023, from what I remember. Anyway, I had all these stacks of books that I was just going to put in the dollar bin, if not get rid of. And then I was just going through them, and I opened one up, and it was the first edition with that, and it was signed by the author. And it was in really bad shape, but I sold it for somewhere around I can't remember if it was $650 or $750, but it sold within 24 hours for a book, that I was going to get rid of or sell for $1. So yeah, so it was a book. I've come close with some clothing items a few times. A pair of shoes I sold, which I still don't know if it got to Hong Kong, by the way. They never said anything, so I guess they did. It was 3 months ago.
What was your favorite sale that you've ever had?
Favorite all-time sale? That's a tough question. Damn, Jen. I really, I'm at a loss for words, I guess. Am I supposed to look into the camera? Because I keep looking at myself and looking down.
You're fine. You're fine.
I don't know, Jen. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry.
You can think about that one. So I think this is a good question, because one of the things that you are very knowledgeable about is like blazers and suits, and I think most people like probably how they eyes glaze over at the thought of selling T-shirts like I do. For me, that's the idea of selling suits and blazers. Like I don't even know, but Annette's Addict says I would think suits would be so hard to sell. It's all about the measurements. Can you tell us a little bit about like what to look for in suits and stuff?
Yeah, so it's size doesn't. I'm not a sizist. Learned that from YouTube. Size doesn't really matter, but when it comes to lower end stuff, the bigger the size, the better. So it does matter in certain circumstances. But the most important thing is really to learn how to measure properly. And a lot of people don't do it right. And through trial and error and through making mistakes and returns, I learned a lot. So measurements are everything. And thanks to you two, I started using Sizely, and that really, really helped my business a lot. But
Sizely has some great templates for suits and blazers and things.
Yeah,
specifically, because that's one of those things that is very difficult to measure properly.
Yeah, it really is. And the thing about Sizely is I'll keep Sizely open. So I'm not doing it like 3 times. I'm not like writing them down, then opening Sizely, then putting them in. I have Sizely open and I have my table right there, and I'm just plugging it right in as I do it. So I'm not even writing it down. But the whole thing about suits is there's 3 main things. It's the chest measurement, it's the length, and and this is what a lot of people miss, it's the I have to use the word girth, but the girth around the center. Because a deviation of just an inch or 2 can make something from like a regular fit to a narrow fit or a slim fit, and you're going to get a return if you don't have that in there. And then the other thing is the chest measurement. Sport coats are made to typically be worn over something, like over a sweater or something. So they give you a little extra in here, a little couple more inches. So if this was like a size 40, you would think pit to pit, I know you hate that word, pit to pit. Pit to pit, you think would be 20 inches. You know, it's not. It should be more like 21 inches. So if you double 21, it would be 42, which would be an extra 2 inches in circumference, because they give you a little extra. If it's just at 40, it's not really just at 20, it's not really.
Unless you like wearing your blazer topless. I mean, some of us do that. I don't know.
I'm sorry, what?
If you wear your blazers topless, I don't know.
See, I was always taught, and you just confirmed that, I was always taught that to measure a blazer, especially if it doesn't have tags with sizing. If it has tags, great, go buy tags and then, you know, put everything down. But if it doesn't, because a lot of suits, especially secondhand, have been altered in some way. So, you know, if it doesn't have tags, the best way to do it is measure the chest and add 2 inches, and that's your size. That's which is kind of like what you just said.
Subtract 2 inches?
Well,
it's not really adding anything. It's the actual measurement. So like, let's say it does have a tag, and let's say it says 40 regular. You still have to measure it, because like you said, it could have been tapered, it could have been taken in. When you're laying it down, and this is the whole thing too, like it's a science to it, because when you lay something down, never measure it from the back. Never measure a sport coat from the back. Always basically you take it, you lay it down just like it is, and you don't pull it or anything or stretch it, but you just press it straight down, take each sleeve and fold them up, and just press it. So once the sleeves are folded up, then you go pit to pit. And then if it's a 40, it's going to say 21 inches across almost like 90% of the time.
Right,
because there's an extra 2 inches. So if you double 21 and 21, it'd be 42, but it's really a 40.
Right. So if you don't, so if it doesn't have a tag and you measure a suit and it's 21 across, so it's 42, then you're going to say size 40.
Right. Sorry, I said it backwards. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, no, you're not measuring 20 and then adding to. It's got to be 21.
Right. I spoke incorrectly, but I knew what I was saying. It just didn't come out of my face correctly.
What? So just to kind of finish off this conversation about the suits, when you are out buying suits, other than brands, like what jumps out to you that tells you a suit might be valuable?
The material. I mean, I would be able to just walk down and feel things. You get a feel for things. So it's the material. And then once you feel the material, then the brand does matter, because even if it's good material, some brands are so crappy they're not going to sell. And then, but then there's a pattern is important too. So if you find a blue pinstripe, I don't care if it's a Gucci, but a blue pinstriped sport coat, don't buy it, because that is a suit. If you're missing the pants, nobody's going to coordinate really a blue pinstripe something with something else.
You gotta have the whole suit.
Yeah, right. So I would avoid pinstripes and stay with the solids or the houndstooth and those kind of things, patterns, but no stripes unless you have the whole suit. So I would add that too. One other thing I'd say is when you're doing the length, you do it from the back, not the top of the collar, but right where the seam is, all the way down to the end, right? And that would be your length. But then that, and I learned this not all that long ago, that doesn't, when something is called long or regular, the long doesn't only refer to the length of the coat that you just measured, it also refers to the sleeves. Mm-hmm. They make the sleeves longer. So, so you gotta be careful. There's a lot to it, but I should probably do a video on it one day.
Indeed. Are there any countries, like specific manufacturing countries like Italy or
Italy?
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. I think my speaker.
I wanted to say while he's checking that too, one of the things that I think lends a notch up for Rick are his photos. His photos of suits and suit jackets specifically are freaking fantastic. And I am nowhere, I mean, we all know my photos are iffy at best, and that's fine for me. But there's a reason why his suits sell as well as they do and get the prices they do. He takes that extra time, probably takes an extra 5 to 10 minutes to make a photo look correct. He's got a dress shirt on the mannequin with a tie, even if he's not selling it, just to show it properly. And if you take a look at his store, which is, I'm sure we're going to link the store below if we haven't already, if that's okay. Do you want? Okay. So if you take a look at his photos, you'll see what I mean. They're really, really good photos, and that he takes the time to make the photos look really good. And I think that actually absolutely lends itself to a higher average sale price.
Do you have any advice about getting the color right? Sandy Regs, they're saying that the hard part about photographing clothing is getting the color right. What's your setup like?
I used to have a lot of issues with, especially dark colors with suits, but like navies or blacks. But since you guys told me about the ring light, and I got a ring light, that really helps. So I would say your lighting is probably real important. I got one of those, I think you have one of those backgrounds with the white cloth that hangs, which sort of sucks because the part that's on the floor that you walk on gets a little dirty, but you can wash it, I guess. But the part behind it, that helps. A white background and the ring light really, really helps. Sometimes I got to get a little closer, and I'm not the brightest guy. I'm learning as I go. Like all this time, like Katie will tell me, "Oh, you don't have your setting right." And I thought I was like doing 1-to-1 ratio when I wasn't. But the other thing, I'm so stupid. I realized I can go like this on my screen to get a close-up of an item. I was taken from far away, and they're like, "Oh, I can magnify that and zoom in on it." Like I was never doing that before, so that helps.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows that.
Hey, we all learn. I still can't get my color set right, so every time I'm trying to take a picture of something difficult, if I can't get it, I'm like, Katie, come fix it.
Yeah, Katie would be very handy to have around because I'm sure I got my phone setting. I have a Samsung Galaxy 9. I think you have one too.
Yeah.
I think Katie could probably show me how to like set the color code, tones right. I probably don't even
and that's really what it comes down to. It's the combination of the lighting and the settings on your camera.
I'm sure.
And so,
yeah. I don't think they could be a lot better, probably.
I think with pictures, it's like, I feel like mine could be way better. So it's like how? I just feel like they could. Like whites and grays. Because I know I could use like a dark background, but I like the consistency of everything having a white background. But then with whites and grays, it's really hard to do that and make them and get the background to be white. So that drives me crazy because I know I could be better, but whatever. You're always going to feel like you could be doing better.
Yeah. So like Gretchen says, I love hearing how everyone is still learning and tweeting. I think you mean tweaking no matter where you are in your journey. Yeah. And it's true. I learn something every day, and I have learned to give up the fact that my photos are not going to be perfect because I don't want to take the time.
I feel like you shouldn't give up yet.
I don't want to take the time necessary to make them be perfect. For me, it's more important to get the volume listed and just get it listed up there. And does that maybe cost me a few dollars in items sometimes? I'm sure it does. So you have to weigh the things that are most important to you. Katie will never put a picture up of something that looks like crap. She'll just retake the photo. So I would never. I'd be like, man, good enough. So like that's the difference between us. It's one of the many differences. Yeah, I mean, it's everybody. There was a lot of questions about shoes too. People had a lot of questions on shoes.
Yeah. What
the big question I saw specifically was, does cordovan mean a style or a color or a type of leather? And I think it's actually two of those three things.
Yeah.
I'll let Rick answer.
Well, cordovan is from a horse. It's from the horse's rear end. It's actually it's a type of leather. But there's also cordovan color, which is often confused. So, shell cordovan sells for very, very, very high-end dollars because it's very durable and lasts for a long time. Whereas the color cordovan is almost like a reddish brown, not to be confused with cordovan. So I don't even like to use that word ever. If cordovan color in my title, maybe in my description, because you don't want people to think you're trying to say something is shell cordovan when it's not.
I actually had a return for that. I sold a pair of Allen Edmonds shoes, and they were cordovan in color, not the type of leather. And I had a customer return them to me, and that was when I said, I'm going to be very specific when I put it in the title. I will put that it's not that in the description, because a lot of people do search by that color because it's that specific reddish brown burgundy color, and it's common knowledge, I think, or fairly common knowledge that people will search by that color. They're not going to search burgundy.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
I've learned to differentiate because of that, because I had a return.
Yeah, that's how we all learn. What's really interesting about Allen Edmonds, if the shoe is still on the website, that is still available, they have a 4-digit code inside the shoe. That's the color code, and you can go to the website and they'll tell you what the name of their color is. Because a lot of people buying the Allen Edmonds will know that name, and that's what they're looking for. So whatever,
Yeah, I always put, because it also says a description of their model if you look up by that number too. So that I always look that up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, a model and a color code. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so Deb says, I'm 100% convinced that a majority of people buy based on the photos. So that's where we spend the majority of our effort, but it does affect volume. And I think it just depends, because like Vicky sells a lot of items where she's the only one that has that particular item. And so I think as long as the pictures are good and they show the item and they're not terrible.
I will say my photos are not terrible. Not by a stretch. They're not terrible. I have proper lighting,
of course,
mannequin placement, all that type of thing. But I will say that sometimes I got a fuzzy photo in there. You see it when I show you my souls. Sometimes I'm like, well, I don't know who took that photo. I must have been drunk that day. Sometimes the photo's a little fuzzy. Sometimes it's got a little shadow. Sometimes the color might be a little bit blown out on one or two of the photos. But the majority of my photos are pretty good. I would say I'm probably a 7 in photo taking, not a 10. And Katie is and I think a 9 or a 10 most of the time.
Well, and so what I'm saying is that, with something, if you're selling things where you kind of corner the market on it, or it's something, I've seen really rare t-shirts or jackets or whatever where the pictures they're all wrinkly and bad lighting, but they still sell for a ton. It's because it's a very specific thing. But I do feel like, for me, when I'm selling, vintage that I'm trying to get a premium price on, a lot of times I'll sell a t-shirt for a lot more, and there's other ones available. And in that case, I do think the pictures play a part in that, because it's kind of like that impulse buy, like somebody sees it and they think it looks really good, and it's like they can't resist it, and they got to spend their $65 on a t-shirt, a used t-shirt, and it's like, it helps. So I don't know. It's just, you just have to decide what you want to spend your time on. And for me, I don't think it really takes me that much time, because I kind of have it.
Well, you have it dialed down. You have it dialed down.
So
I think it's a little bit more difficult when you sell such a wide variety of items, because you're always having to change that photography process.
Yeah. Now there are some people out there, and I'm looking at you, Sandy. I'm looking at you, and I can hear you laughing right now, where, I know that you get a little paralyzed because you want your pictures to be perfect. And I think that we had like a meetup where she was actually trying to get some help, and she was showing us her terrible pictures that she just could not use for a listing. And they were actually really, really good pictures. And everybody was like, what are you talking about?
What are you whining about? Sandy has what we call analysis paralysis. I love Miss Sandy. She will overthink everything from the photos to the pricing to the title. Yeah, I love Miss Sandy.
She actually takes great pictures, so I'm just giving her a hard time.
I think it also depends what you're selling, right? Like certain items require more pictures than other things.
Right.
Like I could be wrong, but on a T-shirt, you're probably not putting 12 photos, right?
No, with my T-shirts, I do front, back. If there's a graphic, I'm going to do a tighter shot of the graphic. If it's single stitch, I'm going to show a close-up of a single stitch, and then I'm going to show the tag. And then if there's any flaws, so a lot of times it's only like 5 pictures, and then the Sizely measurements. So it's usually only like 5 or 6 pictures tops.
Exactly. Whereas like on a shoe, like you'll see a lot of people selling high-end shoes, and they're not taking a picture of the freaking numbers inside and the size. I'm like, oh my God. And you know what I mean? That's just asking for trouble. So certain things require it. So anyway.
Yeah. And I feel sometimes like some vintage clothing, 12 photos is not enough. Some suits, 12 photos is not enough. I feel like, you know, if you're selling a 2-piece or a 3-piece suit, 12 photos is not enough to show a lot of the detail if it's something nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, we got a few more minutes here. If anybody else has any other questions while we have Rick here. Otherwise, you definitely need to go to Rick's channel, Thrift Fever. Make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications. I just put it in the chat again. You can either follow that link or, I mean, it's Thrift Fever. It's not that hard to put in the search bar.
It's not that hard to find.
Not that hard. And maybe, I don't know, Rick, now that you've got yourself a real camera set up for doing your stuff, are you going to do any live shows?
This is my first live show ever. So
I know.
Yeah.
I know he was saying he was nervous a little bit. I'm like, what are you? You're like the one. Nothing to be nervous.
Coming in that suit, but I think maybe one day. I think when I build my channel a little more. I
think you should do like a show that's something like Ask Rick or something like that, and then you can do detailed answers on people's questions about their items. Huh? Look at that, huh?
How smart she is.
It's a good one.
Midwest Seller wants to know, do you also sell on Etsy, or what other platforms do you sell on other than eBay?
100% eBay only. I did try my luck with Poshmark for a while, and I did have some high-end items because that's what I mainly was selling. That sold for like really expensive items. I think I sold something for like $200, which isn't typical for Poshmark. Like I sold a few things, but I wasn't really impressed overall. I think the reason, I could be wrong, I'm just theorizing, is because it's mainly women's stuff on Poshmark, because I was in a different niche and I had high-end men's stuff, which could be a good thing if you sell that kind of stuff. And there weren't too many on there, that's probably why. But overall, I wasn't really impressed with the ratio of sales compared to listings, and just not for me. But no, only on eBay.
I think I'm with you, Rick. It's a lot of work for a little return on that particular platform.
I'm not knocking multiple venues. I'm sure it's the best thing. Like you guys are examples of that, but I'm just eBay right now.
Yeah.
For me.
Do you? I know somebody had asked earlier a similar question, but do you sell much vintage? Like, what would you say like your ratio is to like newer stuff and vintage stuff?
Not so much anymore, but I would find a piece here and there. But usually I would know it's vintage by looking at it, but then I would ask people in the group, or usually Vicky, one of you two, to give me a little more stuff. And then another, oh my God, I'm so good with, I'm losing my, I feel bad for not remembering her name, but there's a gal who lives in Seattle, I think, who's in the group, Christy McCurdy. She would help me a lot with wool and with certain patterns on sweaters and things. She's really a good knowledge base. So just from being in the group, I would get a lot of, so no, sorry. I sell sometimes. I have an eye for seeing when something's vintage, but I don't know a whole lot about it, but I do have an eye for it. So I'll pick something up if it's vintage.
Yeah,
vintage and good quality are two things that are good sellers. So
well, and I think that just kind of shows that like, you're selling, before you were not doing leather stuff anymore, when you're focusing on menswear, it's like you weren't even really doing vintage, and yet you can still have a really high ASP and sell pre-owned clothing. I mean, it just depends on what area you go into.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And you were finding most of your stuff at like Goodwill, right? Like it was crazy.
Goodwill, Salvation Army is mom and pop thrifts only. I never do estate sales. I never go to garage sales. I probably should now that I have more time. I don't know why. I just
Well, you should do estate
Are you
sales.
kidding me? You should. You live in like old people haven. You should be doing estate sales. Estates.
I know.
Nobody's buying suits at estate sales. They would be giving them to you.
Yeah.
Nobody wants them.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about hard goods. I noticed that when I'm in thrift stores now, because I'm not really looking at the suits, I'm going right to the hard goods. All the people are there, and like there's the irony. So yeah, there's a lot of competition in that, but whatever.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Annette's Attic wants to ask about international item did not arrive on time. Buyer got a refund. I took on insurance. They had to fill out an affidavit. You see them doing this since they already have their money back.
It depends on the person, honestly. I've had people ignore the request, and then I've had people, if I know it's Monday morning quarterbacking, but I personally would not give a refund until they fill out the form. That's how I am. But you're 50-50 whether they're going to do it or not. Some people are good people.
So I wanted to point out, I don't know if you got your insurance through Pirate Ship, but one of the things I found with Pirate Ship and getting insurance through them is that, yes, they ask you to have them fill out the affidavit, but if you are unable to get them to do so, what they do is they have you send them proof that you refunded it, that you actually did refund it. And I have not had a problem with still getting that insurance claim covered without an affidavit filled out. So that's what I would say. All right, guys, just a couple more minutes here. But yeah, definitely go check out Rick's channel if you want to learn more. If you're not like me and completely stubbornly staying in a very specific niche and you want to expand and learn and sell other stuff, you should definitely be following Rick and Thrift Fever and checking out what he's selling, because
I legitimately, there are very few people that I learn from on YouTube, and I'm not saying that to be a jerk. I'm saying a lot of people sell things that I already have a general knowledge base about, and I'm not learning something new. I might pick up a brand here and there, but for the most part, I'm not learning something new. I learned something from every single one of Rick's videos.
Mm-hmm.
He just spins off such a wealth of information that it's fascinating to me. So
yeah, for sure.
I appreciate them. I'm glad you have a channel now.
Thank you.
And when she watches Rick, she talks to you in the video, like you can hear.
And he'll talk about, it's funny because he'll do a haul and he'll be like, I got this. Like, oh, he's going to sell it for this. And 99% of the time we come up with the same number, which I think is pretty funny because I'm watching a pre-recorded video, might I add, and I'm talking out loud to it and she laughs at me.
Yeah, for sure.
The irony is I started this educational series like on Saturdays. I was doing just the brand and going into the history and this and that. I was getting like no views. So I just stopped doing it. Everyone was like, oh, we want to see it. And I would do it, nobody would watch it. I'm like, forget it.
Yeah, so to respond real quick to Annette, you're on Pirate Ship. Yeah, so if you can't get the buyer to fill it out, just let them know and they should be able to help you. They're really cool there. It's a great company. All right, so I guess we can wrap things up here. Rick, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. We always have fun with the show. And hopefully you guys out there will follow Rick on Thrift Fever, or I'm sure you can always hit him up in the Boss Facebook group. He's always super helpful. I don't know.
Yeah, I was super excited to have you on the show. He's see, Valerie says, enjoyed your charming demeanor. He is just as charming as he comes across in his videos or in the group. I'm a big fan of Rick. I think he's a great guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he's single, by the way. We have any eligible single women in Florida? Because, you know, I don't know.
How come he didn't sing?
All right, guys. We will see you on Sunday. Thank you so much. Come hang out with us in the Boss Facebook group and go get some work done, huh?
Yeah, I got to get some work done.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everybody.